We are more connected than ever, yet profoundly isolated and exhausted. You wake up, check your screen, and immediately a wave of anxiety washes over you. The modern world demands constant attention, splintering our focus and draining our energy. We are drowning in an endless sea of notifications, status anxiety, and existential dread. But what if the real antidote isn't a new app, but the timeless application of ancient wisdom? The modern crisis is fundamentally a crisis of the mind. We are constantly seeking external solutions to what are entirely internal dilemmas. To navigate this, we must first recognize the true nature of our struggle. In the ancient Indian epic, the Mahabharata, specifically within the pages of the Bhagavad Gita, we find a profound metaphor for the human condition. This text does not just tell the history of human beings, it tells the story of the entire universe. The hero, Arjuna, stands on a chariot, paralyzed by fear and hesitation as he looks across the battlefield at his adversaries. Arjuna is the image of all humanity. Each of us is fighting, or will one day fight, this exact same battle. His adversaries, the Kauravas, symbolize the human personality with its multiple defects and vices. To develop our inner strength and internal values, we are required to fight against ourselves. Arjuna's fear is the fear of the new. It is the dread of breaking away from old, comfortable habits, even if those habits are destructive. In our modern context, this translates to the fear of unplugging, the fear of missing out, and the terror of facing our own silence. We cling to our screens because, like Arjuna, the impression remains that if we kill our false illusions, we will be left in a void where nothing makes sense. But this is simply because we have not yet discovered the profound wisdom that can fill that void when we finally listen to our superior voice. The first practical tool to emerge from this battlefield is the necessity of mental control. As Arjuna tells his master, Krishna, controlling the mind is as difficult as controlling the wind. Yet, this is exactly what the ancient wisdom of Tibet prescribes. In the Tibetan tradition, the most powerful element in our favor during this internal war is the mind itself. We must cultivate dharana, a state of perfect concentration of the mind upon our spiritual essence. Without this concentration, we cannot aspire to conquer wisdom, because within the anarchy of a dispersed, superficial, and worldly mind, profound understanding is impossible. As we often explore a new Acropolis, mastering concentration is the prerequisite for mastering life. It requires us to filter out the noise, to stop speculating about truths, and to begin actually living them. If the first step is recognizing the battlefield and focusing the mind, the second is understanding the nature of our pain. Modern society has conditioned us to view crises as purely negative events. However, the word crisis originally referred to a significant change. We must learn to comprehend and overcome these critical moments. The teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, provide a precise utility for this endeavor. The very foundation of Buddhist teaching is the elimination and overcoming of pain. The Buddha's message was the fruit of a long series of practical experiences aimed at calming human suffering. The core of this practical philosophy lies in the Four Noble Truths. The first truth acknowledges the origin of pain. In the very nature of life, there exists change, impermanence, and suffering. Our modern anxiety stems from our refusal to accept this. We dedicate all our energies to a world in constant transformation, where nothing endures and everything dissipates. We mistake the illusion of possessing and conserving things destined to extinguish, for reality. It is this clinging, this relentless attachment to our digital status, our fleeting emotional states, and our material possessions that provokes our suffering. The utility here is radical acceptance and recalibration. When we channel our thirst for life and our desires toward our higher self, toward that which is permanent and stable, the pain ceases. The Buddha provides a practical metaphor for this recalibration. The string of an instrument. A loose string produces no sound, but if it is too tight, it breaks. It is only in the just middle that it provides harmony. We must apply this middle way to our daily routines, avoiding the extremes of total digital consumption and impossible monastic isolation. By walking this noble eightfold path, we are led toward the very best version of ourselves. To further understand why we remain trapped in cycles of anxiety and distraction, we must turn to Western philosophy, specifically to Plato. In Book 7 of the Republic, Plato offers a parable of profound psychological significance, the myth of the cave. Imagine a subterranean cave, much like a modern movie theater, where humans have lived chained to their seats, facing a wall that serves as a screen. Behind them, a fire burns, casting the shadows of various objects onto the wall. These chained individuals take these shadows for absolute reality and the echoes for the true voices of beings. Is this not the exact architecture of our modern digital lives? We are chained to glowing rectangles, mistaking the curated shadows of social media feeds for the reality of human existence. The machine of deception has been skillfully assembled, leading us down a single path of error while giving us the illusion of free choice. Behind the scenes, the true architects of this environment profit from our captivity, mocking our parodies of freedom. What happens when a person breaks their chains and turns around? At first, the light is blinding. They are disconcerted, judging the real objects to be more deceitful than the familiar shadows they are used to. If dragged outside into the pure light of the sun, they would suffer, wishing only to return to the comfortable darkness of the cave. Plato explains that the path to reality requires gradual acclimatization. We must slowly habituate ourselves to the light. This is the journey from ignorance to wisdom, moving from the sensible world of fleeting images to the world of archetypes. Eventually, the freed individual discovers that the sun is the true cause of the light and realizes that what they watched in the cave were merely shadows and echoes. This deep knowledge yields profound happiness, eradicating any desire to return to slavery. The ultimate utility of this philosophical education is to develop within us the idea of the good. As Plato noted, we do not love what we already have, but what we lack. It is this love, this philosophical yearning, that breaks the barriers of our egoism and pushes us to look at the universe with new eyes. Once we recognize the illusions of the cave, how do we establish a sustainable way of living in the real world? The ancient Greeks, particularly Aristotle and later the Stoics, formulated a practical approach to achieving lasting peace. Aristotle taught that the supreme good, the ultimate end of all human actions, is happiness. However, happiness is not found in a vegetative state, nor merely in the sensitive life of seeking physical pleasure, which we share with animals. The happiness proper to human nature comes from the life of the soul in accordance with reason. This happiness is derived from the development of virtue. A central concept in achieving this is autarky, self-sufficiency, or non-dependence. Greek philosophical currents associated autarky with the ideal life of the wise person. If one is sufficient unto oneself to be happy, one only needs the exercise of virtue. Autarky produces happiness. Whoever knows how to live well with themselves knows how to live with others. In our era of hyper-dependence on external validation, cultivating inner self-sufficiency is a revolutionary act. This brings us to the Stoics of the Roman era. The Stoics recognized that the study of pure sciences did not bring happiness, so they turned to moral philosophy, framing ethics as the true art of living. For the Stoics, the universe is an infinite, living, and unitary matter. The first fire, or spirit, resides within all beings. The core of Stoic utility is understanding the dichotomy of control. In everything that happens, we observe the interplay of the necessity and finality. We suffer because we demand that the world conform to our desires. Epictetus provides the ultimate rule for mental survival. Never ask that things happen as you wish, but rather wish that they be as they are, and you will always prosper. What humans commonly perceive as evil is merely a lack of knowledge, which eventually forces us to acquire just knowledge, even if through pain. The Stoic goal is ataraxia, the necessity of conquering peace. This is not an unproductive stillness, but a profound peace born from virtue and inner harmony. True freedom, the Stoics tell us, is the ability to align human will with divine necessity. As the maxim goes, he is free who freely obeys what necessarily happens. This aligns perfectly with the timeless approach of New Acropolis. Philosophy not as a retreat from the world, but as an active, conscious, and serenely happy engagement with it, where duty is performed without the bitterness of endless rumination. To sustain this profound freedom, we require an internal architecture. We look to the wisdom of ancient China and Egypt to understand how personal ethics map onto the broader world. For Confucius, the key to interpreting reality is the concept of order. Order is perfection, it is harmony, and the final ideal. He promoted a social order rationalized through ethics and based on personal culture. Confucius believed that to achieve political and social harmony, one must first achieve moral harmony within the human being. Ethics is the science that seeks to harmonize the individual so that the wellsprings of goodness and justice flow from within. This corresponds beautifully with the ancient Egyptian concept of Ma'at. If we were to choose one archetype from Egyptian civilization, it would be Ma'at, the representation of justice. Ma'at symbolizes truth, order, rule, and rectitude. She is the universal order under which gods, humans, and animals are all sheltered. The supreme good in ancient Egypt was the establishment of Ma'at within society and within the individual. To be Egyptian meant to be a servant of Ma'at. This concept of order is perfectly symbolized by the true pyramid. A false pyramid is a mere stacking of blocks, where those at the top bear little weight and crush those at the bottom. A true pyramid, however, has a solid core where weight is distributed. It is a profound symbol of responsibility and solidarity. In a true pyramid, no one crushes the head of another. Rather, those who reach higher levels of internal human development carry more weight and assume greater responsibility. To build this internal pyramid, we must seek truth not out of personal vanity, but as a duty to humanity. It requires a long journey beginning with the humble act of learning to listen before speaking. We must temper our passions and refine our character. As the Egyptian sage Ptahhotep advised, if you are powerful, practice knowledge and calm speech. By synthesizing the focused mind of the East, the middle way of the Buddha, the liberating light of Plato, the unshakable self-sufficiency of the Stoics, and the harmonious order of Ma'at, we construct an impenetrable fortress against modern anxieties. We become citizens of the world, united by our shared human nature. We stop being victims of a fragmented digital age and become architects of our own timeless serenity. The philosophical journey does not end when the video stops. It begins when you step away from the screen and apply these teachings to your daily life. As we often explore in New Acropolis, philosophy is not merely an intellectual exercise, but a profound, practical way of living. If you are seeking a community of like-minded individuals to navigate this complex world, New Acropolis has dozens of physical schools spread across the United States for those who want to practice this philosophy in real life. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel for more insights, and check the links in the description below to find a local branch near you. Transform your modern anxiety into timeless wisdom. Your path to inner mastery and true clarity is waiting for you.